comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that. Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that. Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that. Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that. Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that. Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that. Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that. Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. You ain't built for a skirt as a nigga can be. It's gonna sound like when I'm coming, like when I'm coming, like when I'm coming for ya. It's gonna sound like when I'm coming, like when I'm coming, like when I come for ya. It's gonna sound like here comes the, here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that.
What is going on, everybody? Happy Sunday. Excited to have you guys with us. Thanks for stopping by. This is the Gridiron Gang. Hope you guys are ready for NFL Week 15 because you came to the right spot. Excited to have you guys with us. Welcome to the Betting News Network. That is Vsauce. That is Trizzy Betts. That is Jess Sook. My name's Sweatpants Jesus. Stoked to have you guys with us to rock and roll. Boys, how we living? You guys ready to get it?
Yes, sir.
It's week 15 already. Like, where does the freaking time go?
I know, man. It's crazy. We've got about 4 more. Well, we've got the whole playoffs. So we've got about 2 more months of Gridiron Gang before it goes back on the shelf. But the vibes are high. Excited to have you guys with us. Brought to you by our sponsors at BetOnline. Get involved with BetOnline with the $1,000 deposit bonus and $10 dropped into your account with that QR code above Mr. Vsauce. Sponsored by the little puppies that he's got squirming around his feet right now. But we're excited to have you guys here to talk all through this beautiful NFL slate in front of us. Obviously, we've got a lot of big games today, a lot of playoff implications on the line today for a lot of teams. We'll talk about a few of those matchups. We also have a special guest with us today, which we will bring him up in just a second as well. Should be a fun one today, boys. Yeah, the intern needs to be fired. That video's somehow saved, but we can't get Chop Suey. I don't know what's going on, man. I know.
Hey, I broke even yesterday, man. 5-5. I'm blaming no chop suey.
100%. Shambles. I'm still in shambles. Yeah. I can't do it, man. Cheers, chat. Whatever you guys are sipping on. Hope you guys are sipping on something nice to start the Sunday. Hope it's coffee or if something a little bit stronger if you're feeling frisky to start the day. Trizzy doesn't want anything to do with that right now.
Booze.
There's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than a night out.
The smell of cognac would make me puke all over my computer right now.
I got really, really wasted one time, and the next morning I was watching some TV or something, kind of getting the day going, and a tequila commercial came on. I had to turn the TV off immediately. Just the look of it or the thought of it, man, insane.
Yep. You start tasting it in the back.
Yeah. Oh, you can smell it. Oh man.
Yeah.
I love you, Kadar.
Unfortunately.
Kadar's a homie. Yeah, GT got robbed. I mean, Travis Hunter was always winning the Heisman yesterday.
Yeah.
But did you guys know that the Heisman ceremony was yesterday? I didn't even realize, and then I was like, oh shit, the Heisman's today. What the hell?
It's announced
That's crazy.
and given really quick.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever. It was always Hunter. I think GT should have won, but hey ho. Glad I threw a cup of coffee on GT. Nice donation. Added to the list. Whatever.
Real quick before we dive into the NFL slate today, boys, how do you think Travis Hunter plays? Do you think he plays both sides of the ball in the NFL?
No.
I mean, based on interviews that I've seen with him, he said that he basically said he was like, they told me that I was never going to do this in college, so I'm going to try to do it in the NFL. I don't know if the coaches are going to let him, but people told him he wasn't going to do it in college, and obviously he won the Heisman doing it, so I don't know. I don't think so, but I highly doubt it. I think they're going to make him pick. We talked about this before. I think it makes the most sense for him to be a corner and then them design offensive plays for him to kind of come on offense and make a couple splash plays or something like that, like a gadget player. Because that's a lot easier to do it instead of, you can't just like throw a corner out there for a couple series.
But is he too talented to be a gadget player? I'm seeing that everywhere too. SPJ, I get what you're saying, and that's like totally right. But the other side of the argument I'm seeing is he's way too talented, and he should pick one side of the ball. Do you guys prescribe to that at all, or you just kind of like sit back, wait, and see what he does in the league?
I don't think it's sustainable.
Yeah. I agree with Riz. It's like you're playing both sides of the ball. Not only are you taking hits, but you're delivering hits on every single play. And you can see it in the college game too. He would have like the only time on the bench that he had was the extra points or kickoffs. That's it. Every other play he was on the field. So in between even them scoring a touchdown and then going back on the field, that's not even like a punt team and then you're out there again on first down for the other team. In the NFL, it's not sustainable. And in terms of like teams investing in players, I don't think you want your player out there for that many snaps either.
Yeah, the other thing I think of as well is, Deion did it, but Deion did it back when the NFL was completely different. You know what I mean? That the speed of the game now has just increased so much that to be able to play every snap on both sides of the ball, it's just not sustainable. We see some of these offensive guys go down with injuries 2-3 times a year. Now you're playing both sides of the ball. It's a lot of wear and tear on the body. I think somebody's going to probably make him pick a side of the ball. If he goes to the Pats, I'd rather him play cornerback. But
well, I agree 100%. I felt that way since we talked about this to kind of start the season. But he's in a couple interviews, like I said, people told him that he wasn't going to do this in college. So I don't know. I'm not going to run it past him. He won the Heisman doing it in college. So I agree, and I think that will be the case. But we'll find out. I think that Ginty has an opportunity, like someone said in the chat, to be a better NFL player than Hunter. I think that down to down, if he because of his skill set being so translatable immediately to the NFL, but we're obviously going to find out.
The NFL was like a lot rougher and tougher back then, but these corners also weren't turning and burning 30 times a game trying to cover a deep route because they weren't throwing deep routes like that. You know, it's just the speed and like the amount of passing that is in today's NFL. Even if he's not getting thrown at, they're still going to be running him all over the field. So,
Word. All right, well, that was obviously yesterday. The Heisman Trophy announced. It was always Hunter. Congratulations to Travis Hunter. It was cool seeing him and Deion embrace and Hunter cry. That was showed how much it meant to him, which, I mean, it's what you should do when you win the Heisman. But
did you see, too, that like how this whole, duo happened with Shador sliding into Travis's DMs? Somebody posted a screenshot of their conversation, and he's just like, you got to come play at Colorado. He's like, yeah, I want to come play for your dad. Just a sick interaction to see, how well they played together, how much they did together, and even Shador there supporting him to win the Heisman. It's really fun to see. I'm excited to see both of these guys, G&T and Cam Ward, everybody that was up there on stage next year in the league.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna be interesting to see how it kind of plays out too. We're obviously getting to the point of the NFL season as well, where a lot of teams are eliminated from playoff contention. Some of them are starting to look forward to the draft and think about their draft pick, their draft status, where they're going to land, if they need to, not tank, but winning games, losing games, how it matters to that top 10 pick. And that obviously is going to play out with a lot of these guys we saw yesterday. So good stuff. We appreciate you guys being here, kicking it with us. We've got a huge slate in front of us that we're going to dive in and talk with you guys game by game. But let's bring up our special guest. We have a special guest joining us today, which he would be with us every day if he could. But he doesn't normally have as much time. But we get him this morning. Look at this bearded dragon. Hello, good sir. Howdy. Yes, sir. 10 Force. How you doing? Good. Thanks for stopping by.
Wait. Am I tripping out or do we not see him?
Yeah, I thought I was bugging.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Did you guys not see him?
No.
Chad, did you guys see him?
Not for a second.
I was so confused.
That was tripping.
I was staring at him on my screen, man.
You were talking to the Holy Ghost for 30
everyone's
seconds.
imagination.
That's really Canva. StreamYard's kind of bugging out right now. Like I'm trying to load stuff for the next segment, and it's not working for me. So it also cut out during the intro, so it's kind of being weird right now. So I don't know if we might have some technical difficulties happening. But hey, man, I talk to myself all the time. It's not out of the realm of possibility. But we do have a Chef T with us today, which we love to see. So hello, buddy. How you doing?
Great. How are you guys?
Oh, spectacular.
Chat,
Ready to dive into this beautiful NFL slate?
Echo, Marcus, Takeover, Embiid,
Yeah.
Hobie.
No.
We got a ton of people in here, all goats.
Yeah, we got lots of goats in the chat. Love to see it.
Chat.
Love to see it. All right, guys. Well, I want to do stud or dud, but like I said,
real quick. I
Yeah.
wanted to. Absolutely no fucking way he plays both sides. Absolutely no way.
Okay.
That's my we barely get that from the best pitcher and hitter in all of baseball. And that's absolutely not going to happen for a guy who's probably going to flop next year for whatever team he goes on. But
you think he's going to flop?
That's just
you don't
my
think he's going to be you don't think he's going to be a good NFL player?
Absolutely not. No.
Okay.
But I was wrong about Wemby. I didn't think he would be able to sustain, things and whatnot, and I was proven wrong. But I feel like there's a lot of hype around him, and there's a lot of advantages he has to, being a good Heisman player. But I know a lot of people are whatever. That's just my 2 cents. I'm probably wrong, so we can move on and talk about NFL. But my 2 cents is that.
Chuck, do you feel the same way about Shedeur?
I think Shedeur has. I mean, he's a quarterback. He has to have these weapons, otherwise the entire team fails. It has to happen. And I think Shedeur is really good. I just think that Hunter is good, but I think what's the quote? The sum of the parts, things make you better for whoever you're around. Unless he has amazing chemistry with a brand new team, I don't think that's going to translate.
I disagree, but I don't really like him that much. We've talked about Colorado a lot this year, but I think he's going to be a good
Landon,
player.
As soon as you stop giving us blues and fucking Mizzou bets, then I'll listen to your commentary. But until then, yeah, you can take that and
Yeah. All right, let's talk about today. We got a big NFL slate in front of us today. Let's play some stud or dud to kind of get the vibes moving. Some of you guys can just stop paying attention for this segment because you're not in the fantasy playoffs. Sorry about it. But if you are, then this is a big day for you guys. Either the second week of your first matchup in the first round of the playoffs, or the first week of the playoffs, depending on how your league rolls. So let's talk about a couple different players and their status on the rankings, and see if we think they're going to be studs or duds. I finally got it loaded, I think. So let's fingers crossed, make sure it works. Number 1, Jack, can we see this? You guys can see it, right? Mm-hmm. Let's get it. Stud or dud. Joe Burrow, the number 4 ranked quarterback coming in today. He's been an MVP. He's been playing MVP football. However, the Bengals just cannot get the job done. Big game today in Nashville. Last week, he had 33 for 44 for 369 yards. 3 touchdowns, 1 interception as well. Taking on the Tennessee Titans today in Nashville, number 4 ranked. What do you guys think? You think Joe Burrow is going to ball out again today?
I do. I really think he's going to have a big game. Burrow's been putting up big game after big game after big game. And the Titans over the last 3 weeks or 4 weeks have not been the best. They've allowed 2+ passing touchdowns in 3 of the last 4 games. And they're coming off a game where they got Mac Jones. And Mac Jones didn't really do much, no passing touchdowns. But we did see that game, and it was an ugly one. So I got to go stud. He's putting up numbers. I think T. Higgins also has a bounce back game this week. But we'll talk more about that as we get to that game. But I think absolute stud today.
Boys,
I would agree, SBJ. I'm sorry to say it to you, but I'm on the Bengals -5 here. I think Burrow rolls. I think Higgins has a really big game. It might not be a high scoring game, but I think they cover the spread with ease. I think Burrow has a big game.
I think just with how good Burrow's been and how bad that defense has been, they kind of push the envelope when they're on offense because that's the only avenue they have to victory. So I think if you have Joe Burrow as your fantasy QB, it's absolute stud every week because he's going to put up more points than half the quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, I mean, if you got Burrow, you're starting him, especially at this point if you're, in that particular place. I will say, just to play devil's, I like him too. I think he's going to be awesome. No one's stopping this team right now. I will say, just from, just to read some stats, the number 1 statistical defense in the NFL stopping the pass is the Tennessee Titans. The number 1 scoring defense in the NFL, points allowed, is the Tennessee Titans. So it's going to be a little bit of a test, but he's passed every single test that he's taken over the past 6 weeks. So I don't see that stopping today. He's probably going to be a stud, but maybe it's a little bit less of a stud than, 369 passing yards. Nice.
Titans money line.
I feel like
Chef, come on.
I feel like those stats are skewed too because they have the best defense in the league, but they're 3-10. So
yeah,
like their special teams unit sucks so much ass that usually the quarterbacks only have to throw the ball like 30 yards to get to the end zone. So
you don't realize how important every facet of an NFL team is until you have like the forgettable part.
Frozen.
Did I lose you?
Did we just lose Sook?
Oh.
And bye. See ya. Okay. All right. Well, loved everything he was saying, which is unfortunate. Are you back?
Am I back?
Yes.
What did you guys get?
He's back.
Just start over.
I was just saying, you don't realize what important parts of the game are until you kind of fail at the simple parts. The Bucks are on their 3rd punter of the year, and you really realize how important field position is after a 3rd down, and then you punt on 4th, and the punter fucks it up. That's when you realize, like, a punter is extremely important.
Oh, for sure. Every position in football it's so crazy to me that we watch this sport so much and like you realize that like it takes one little fucking bozo, man. Just one bozo to ruin a play, ruin a game. I mean, so many times it happens, but
yeah.
All right, Joey B, probably stud.
I think he's gonna dud. I mean,
let's go.
Honestly, like there's a reason that they're 5-8. Obviously it's been a big narrative that, oh my God, they keep losing by 1 or they keep losing by fluke shit. I mean, we're done with this season. Like they're 5-8, right? You guys talk about, or everybody talks about, records all season. They're 5-8. They cannot close, right? And Tennessee does have a really good defense. Like we've already seen all the trends. We have the numbers in front of us. We already see everything. I mean, yeah, if Joe Burrow, can cook a team, like he would have already done that and been 8-5. You know what I mean?
But
they cannot close. Tennessee has the weapons that they need to cook the mediocre to shitty Bengals defense. If the Bengals were going to cook and Burrow was going to cook, it would be a 6.5 spread. It would be a 9.5 spread, in my opinion. I don't think the Bengals cook. I really don't.
What was the spread last week
for the Titans game? They were favorites against the Jags, which is the kiss of death for the Titans. If they're favorites, just take the other team.
And wouldn't you also say, Chef, that like the Bengals defense has been more to blame than the play of Joe Burrow, right? Like Joe Burrow's been putting up
1,000%. That's exactly it. They cannot close because the defense
but
fucks everything up.
for fantasy implications, I mean, he's been cooking.
Yeah, boys, this is just fantasy, my guys.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know how this fucking show goes. I'm just giving my.
You think he's gonna? If you had him on your fantasy team, are you starting him?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think he gets the numbers. We're talking about fantasy. We're talking about numbers. He's not going to get 400 yards and 5 touchdowns and then lose. He's just going to not be able to perform. And then maybe in the, if they're okay. I'm not taking Joe Burrow, and I'm not taking the Bengals to cover or win.
All right.
We'll get to this game. We'll talk about this game a little bit more when we get to game by game stuff.
I'll take Pollard to ground and pound and Ridley.
We'll get there. All right.
Yeah.
Studs mostly. Chef leaning more towards dud. No, it's okay. That's why you're here, buddy. Let's get it. Let's talk about a running back. It's amped, baby. Amped. All right. Let's get to a running back. You're not benching him if you got him today, but it's worth bringing him up. Number 2, we haven't had him on Stud or Dud this entire season, so I just wanted to see his beautiful little face. Derrick Henry, number 2 ranked running back today against the Giants. 19 rushes, 82 yards last week. You know Derrick Henry hasn't scored a touchdown in 2 weeks. Crazy.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep. He's doing for 2 today.
he sure is. He's got a great matchup for it, too. I know Sauceman's been all over this guy since earlier this week. That's just the magical text he sent me. Let's just do it this way. Does anybody think that he's going to be a dud today? Put it that way.
I hope he does.
Yeah, hope he does.
No TD. We'll see, Hobie. He's got back-to-back weeks without a touchdown. But you know what the other thing is in games that the Henry and the Ravens win, we've talked about this, SPJ, he sees 20-plus carries, right? In games he's seen 20-plus carries this year, 5 games. He's had a touchdown in every single game. In 4 of those games, he had a touchdown every game. And in all 4 of the games he scored twice. Not just 1 touchdown, but 2 touchdowns. He's playing a Giants defense that ranked 29th against the rush. He is going to go off. I have a couple of plays in this one, but he's going to be a stud. You can't keep I locked up.
For me, it doesn't matter because in my main fantasy league with all my friends, I'm on a bye week, and this is my running back. So stud or dud doesn't matter, V, because I got a bye week, and I don't even think you made playoffs in our league, did you?
So just out here flashing for no reason. Nobody even asked at all.
Wow.
Like, nobody asked. Hey, if we're doing that though, Sook, where are you in the BN league?
Oh, I haven't even checked that sleeper app for a minute.
Not in the playoffs.
Yeah. My only goal in that league was to not come in last. Like at one point I lost Cup. I lost Hawkinson at one point. Oh, I drafted Hawkinson and he didn't come back until like 4 weeks after I thought he was going to. And then I lost McCaffrey. I was doomed from the start, man.
It's crazy that like we do fantasy and like, obviously I've changed my opinion about fantasy football over the past couple of years with betting every single day, but it still is fun. There's nothing worse than getting last in your league and watching your team just absolutely shit the fucking bed though. Like, you just feel like such an inadequate sports person. You're just like, God, I suck at this so bad. Why is this a thing?
The worst is when someone goes, oh, you work in sports. I'll add you to this league. And then you have a poor showing. And they go, I thought you worked in sports.
Yeah, exactly.
Betting every single day. I mean, again, I have to, like, when we do this segment, I forgot to say, Chad, go set your lineups if you haven't already. When we do this segment, most of the time, that's when I go and set my fucking fantasy lineup because we're talking about all this other stuff. Like, I always forget, but... Anybody else got anything on D. Henry today? We'll talk about this game a little bit more. His line is very high, but yeah, Chef, go for it.
150 and 3 touchdowns is 1,500.
Oh yeah, I already got the 150 and a little two guys that I posted last night. I like it a lot.
Yeah. I think the only way he doesn't score is if Jackson somehow vultures one when they get down there.
Yeah, fucking.
He hasn't been doing a lot of that this year at all.
Exactly.
He's actually scored. I think I'm gonna fuck this stat up, but I think Jackson has 10 touchdowns when Derrick Henry goes down within 10 yards of the red zone. Oh, that's Saquon. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for
correcting me. That's the other vulture.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That dude pisses me off. He's not even a QB, but we'll get there.
Yeah, he's a bozo. All right, last one. Wide receivers. This one's interesting. Let's see what you guys think about this. Devontae Adams, a number 5 ranked wide receiver. He's been actually really good since coming over to the Jets. It hasn't mattered because the Jets suck. But he's been great. Had 9 catches last week for 109 yards and a touchdown. So for fantasy implications today, even though the Jets aren't playing for a lot, Devontae's still going out there and balling out. Boys, you guys think he's going to be a stud again today for the Jets?
They got nothing to play for, but they're playing for pride at this point. We saw him with the heavy target share last week once again, and you know him and Aaron Rodgers are always going to have a connection. Up against the bottom 3 pass defense in the Jaguars and a team that can't stay on the field. So, yeah, I'm going to go with stud, even though this Jets team and anything to do with them has made me want to vomit.
Yep, I agree with V. I'll just go stud just because of the target share. When you're playing fantasy, you just want a guy that gets volume.
Yeah.
100%. And it's got a spectacular matchup, man. Like V was saying, we'll talk about this game in a minute, but the Jaguar secondary is at hot ass cheeks. And he's on 99 career touchdowns. Ooh, baby.
Ooh, we love narratives.
I mean, there's no reason at this point in the season to just like sit back and feed Hall. You know, I mean, they're just gonna go out. They each got him and Wilson. Each got like 9 or 10 or something like that targets last week, and I think they do the same this week. They go out there, they have fun, they cook the secondary, and I like both of them, honestly. I like both Adams and Wilson today. So,
all right, we just need to let's just all alleviate our homie stress, brother. We got an hour and a half. It's all good. It's okay. We're gonna get through every game, I promise. We got an hour and a half though. We got an hour and a half till these games start, so don't worry.
We love you, Marcus.
We love you, Marcus. We're gonna get there. I promise.
Ricky Bobby.
What's up, Ricky Bobby? All right. Yeah, Conix has got us on a timer, so we're chilling. We're chilling.
B, is that your girlfriend or your fiance, your wife?
Where?
Sitting next to you?
Wait, what?
Chef,
I wasn't sure if Chef was just surprised or if he was messing with me.
Chef woke up on the spicy side of the bed today, Chad.
Does anybody else see that? What I'm seeing?
All right, no.
Oh, Taylor Swift.
Oh, there he is in the background. Okay, we got there eventually.
Don't talk about the KC Queen. Shaggy's drinking a black. Oh,
I also love when Shaggy tunes in. W Shags. All right, those are fantasy stutter duds. Be sure to set your lineups if you guys have made it to the playoffs. Congrats, and hope you win today. All right, boys. Like our buddy Marcus was saying, we have an hour and a half until kickoff, so we have an hour and a half to get through these games. The later slate is a lot better than the early slate, but we will go game by game with you guys. Just to throw this to you guys before we dive in and bring up Outlier and kind of look at some stats and talk about our plays. These are the teams and what they have at stake today for Week 15. That we've done this last few weeks, just so you guys can kind of wrap your heads around this before we kind of talk about the individual games. The Atlanta Falcons today, 51% chance of making the playoffs if they win, drops all the way down to 18% if they lose. So a lot on the line today for the Falcons in that messy NFC South. AFC South as well got some implications. The Colts taking on the Broncos. Both teams on this graph, 68% chance to make the playoffs today if they win, only 10% if they lose. Massive implications for the Colts. And as the Broncos, you can see on the bottom of the screen, 91% chance if they win, 42% chance if they lose. So not as much at stake, but they can lock in their position even more if they get a dub. The Buccaneers, 89% chance, 59% chance if they get an L. We'll talk about that game in a minute, too. The Rams, 54% chance if they win. Pesky Rams, man. 23% chance if they get a drop a loss. And then the Seahawks to round us out, 82% chance on Sunday Night Football against V's Packers, 50% chance if they get a loss. So remember that as we dive into these games. We'll bring this back up a couple more times as we go game by game with you guys as well. Any comments on this, boys, before we dive in?
Go Bucks. Football before we jump into the football.
Yep. Shags posted some scribbles last night about Man City and Man United, the Manchester derby today. If you want to go rock and roll with that. All right, boys. No, you're good, Marcus. We love you. We wouldn't do that to you. Could you imagine trying to go through all these games in 30 minutes? Sheesh.
Marcus, you know how long it takes us to get through a 2-game NBA slate?
Yeah. For reals.
V jinxed it on Friday. He's like, we got time. Sure.
We got plenty of time. All right. Let's bring up our friends at outlier.bet and let's dive into these games. As always, chat, drop your favorite plays in the bottom in the comments as we go in, and we will give you guys what we got as well. Let's get to it, boys.
All right, lads. To the ugliest game possibly of the day. The New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers travel to Jacksonville to take on Mac Jones and the Jaguars. We got the Jets coming in as a 3.5-point road favorite, over under set at 40.5. This one's ugly. We just talked about Devontae Adams, and I think he might be the only guy I'm kind of looking at in this one. But boys, are we seeing something in this one? And if so, who is it?
I'm big on Garrett Wilson today. I think Garrett Wilson's going to have a big game. I don't know if it's going to be like the yardage and maybe Adams vultures the touchdowns, but I feel like he's going to be open today, man, and he's going to be open often. So yeah, I like the slot receiver in the matchup more than Adams on the outside, honestly.
And he still had 114 yards last week too, when Adams had 109. So like Aaron Rodgers is more than willing to pass the ball around, and like they just can't pull ahead in games. Last week too, they looked like they might win that one, but Miami came back, won in overtime, and it's just been heartbreak city for the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll run with what Trizzy says. Like, do you think Mac Jones has an opportunity to push these guys to a victory, or do you think this is going to just be like the Jets finally get a feel-good win?
Let me speak on this. I watched him play for like 4 years. Mac Jones is the worst quarterback in the NFL, like including backups. That man's decision making needs to be studied. Literally needs to be studied. It's not happening, man. Even if he has a good game for him is like 175 and 2 picks instead of fucking 3.
I feel that pain as a Chicago Bears fan. I feel you.
So over his last 2 weeks, I will say this: Brian Thomas's target share has been super intriguing. He's got 22 targets. Yeah, the receptions might not be as like sexy when you're looking at 4 on 10 targets or even 8 on 12, but it's seeing a little bit of growth in terms of week by week, and it's a Jets defense that we know. Yeah, Sauce Gardner's out there, but Sauce hasn't been Sauce this year at all. They're missed tackles, missed coverages, and the defense just looks lost, whether it's the loss of Robert Saleh or it's just that this defense wasn't built as good as everybody thought. They haven't been good. And in the situation here where like Mac Jones is a bad QB, but sometimes as a bad QB, it's best if you just throw it to your best receiver. And that's been Brian Thomas this season.
He even came out after the game and said, because they were like, how's your chemistry with Brian Thomas? How's that working out? Because, there was like the second half of that game, there were about 3 or 4 possessions where it was literally we are throwing the ball to Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas. And he said after the game, he was like, that's what you got to do with your best player. So Mac Jones has acknowledged that this is their best target. He is a great player. And yeah, like you mentioned, V, the stats kind of say that the Jets defense is good, but I think it's kind of fake good, kind of like we were talking about a little bit with the Titans. So I think that Brian Thomas definitely has an opportunity here to have a good game if he gets the same amount of targets like you just talked about. On the other side, this Jaguars secondary, like we were talking about with Devontae, sucks ass. So Devontae's probably a good look, like you were saying, Triz, Garrett Wilson, Lazard from the chat, Aaron Rodgers even for his passing yards. But this is one of those games, we're going to talk about a lot of games today that like there's zero implications for either of these teams. These teams are both cooked on the season. They're just playing for checks and contracts and, putting stuff on tape at this point. So, you got to kind of bake that into a grain of salt a little bit in capping these particular types of games because of that.
I will say this too. Aaron Rodgers is kind of playing to have a job next year, I would say.
Yeah.
Because as it sits right now, I don't know if a team goes out and signs him next year, but maybe if he finishes the season, few really good games, high passing games, I'm sure there's some sorry ass team that'll give him a job next year.
And he finally broke 300 yards last week after years.
34 games, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
All right, we are going to do, as we have been doing the last couple of weeks, we're going to pick a play in every single game, even the gross ones, and try to put together. If Tony Pollard would have scored last week, guy would have banged like a plus 35,000 lay on us doing this. And Pollard had a touchdown called back on a shitty holding call, so that was really sus. They were watching. I know, brother, me too. Oh, it broke my heart too. So we're going to do the same thing again today. Obviously, Chad, if you guys want to write it out, feel free to, or take whatever you guys want. Be sure to post it and tag us, and then if it hits plus 1,500 or higher, then we will give you guys something from our store. Before we move on from this one, guys, what do you guys want to take in this game?
I'm sorry, I just wanted to say one last thing, that the wide receiver one against the Jets over the first little while in the season. They've only scored 5 touchdowns, but all 5 of those touchdowns have come over the last 10 games, and 4 of those have come over the last 7. The Jets defense is deteriorating right in front of our eyes, and it feels like a place where Brian Thomas and this Jaguars team at home might get one into the end zone just to cause this team to sweat just a little bit extra.
100%.
I like him to get a touchdown.
I like his receptions. We could take that.
Yeah, I'm even down for the receiving yards for Brian Thomas. Or do we want to take something on the Jet side like Trizzy said? Trizzy really liked Garrett Wilson.
Mm-hmm. I think he might get in this week too. He's not gonna. He hasn't scored in a few weeks.
We can also just take his yards for this and a touchdown for something else.
Mm-hmm. Whatever the case is, even receptions too for Garrett Wilson. He might be the one that gets fed today. You just put up the stats for Devontae last week. Devontae had 9 for 100 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's Wilson this week. It's tough. I mean, Wilson did get 10 targets last week. He had 7 receptions himself.
114 yards.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. I mean, and he's the less popular of the two if you want to go for like handle and what people are actually touching today. So.
And it says last 3 weeks, the wide receiver one against the Jaguars has finished with 7 receptions, 8 receptions, 11 receptions. In those 3 games, 2 of the games have been 118 yards or more.
The Jags are 1-11 in their last 12 games as an underdog. Do we just put Jets money line in here, -170 as our first part?
The Jets have cost me thousands of dollars this season. Like thousands.
So that's a no. That's a no.
You can't trust the Jets with like anything right now.
Yeah. Let's take Garrett Wilson. You guys want to take the yards or the catches?
Ooh.
Let's do receptions.
Okay.
Let's go.
Garrett Wilson for 6 catches, -102.
Perfect.
Good. All right. Here we go. Well, got that one out of the way. Whew,
He's hit that twice in 5 games, but the 3 games he didn't hit that were actually the easier games.
Kadar's like, please, dear God, take a prop. We did. Don't worry. It's all good.
I'm sorry. I was just asking.
No, it's a great point. The Jets should win, but Garrett Wilson will help them. All right, let's keep it rolling.
Love you, NZ. All right. Let's off to MetLife, the other New York team. We got the Baltimore Ravens at 8-5 coming to take on the New York Giants at 2-11. Baltimore enters this one as a 16.5 point road favorite. Insane. Over under set at 43.5. Tommy DeVito back under center for the football Giants. Guys, it's been hell in New York this year for both teams. What's going on this week at MetLife?
It's a 17-point spread. I ain't touching this one.
Way too many fucking points. This is the biggest spread we've seen in maybe 2-3 years, right? I think
it's huge.
It's been a minute.
I think even the Chiefs. I don't remember really seeing anything larger than 14, which to me that's a red flag, like a giant red flag in my opinion. I maybe they blow them out by like 21. Whatever, intended. But even if they let's say they dominate and they only win by 2 touchdowns, you would still think the Ravens played really good and they dominated that team, but they just didn't cover a 17-point fucking spread.
And the Ravens don't have a lot of double-digit wins. Sorry, I was just saying they don't have a lot of double-digit wins this year, so it's not like they've been blowing teams out either.
Yeah, it's a red flag to me. It's not something I would ever want to get involved with, A really good team that should steamroll a really bad team is never a situation I want to put money in.
All right, well, Vita talked about this, and I'll kind of lob him a softball. The Giants are so bad at stopping the run. They're terrible. I also kind of feel like that there's some teams that are still fighting for their job or fighting for their coaches, fighting for their teams. I don't think the Giants are one of them. They kind of look pretty out on this entire season, and so they're just showing up for a check. In comes one of the best running backs in the NFL. He's also looking to go toe for toe with Saquon over this last month of the season. And as a person that's watched Derrick Henry his entire career, those things matter to him. There were the season when he got 2,000 yards. They were running him like every fucking play to get him 2,000 yards because they knew the implications. Because it mattered to him too. So I have a feeling the Ravens are going to feed him today. They should because of the matchup. But I'll let V talk about it a little bit more. I like Derrick Henry a lot. Shocking.
No, SBJ, you're completely right, and I'm thank you for lobbing me off the softball for your guy here. But Derrick Henry has been absolutely fantastic this year. I wrote about this game. I have 2 plays in this one, and honestly, they're both running backs on the Baltimore Ravens. It's kind of crazy, but we're taking Derrick Henry's over rushing yards in this one. He has been absolutely fantastic this year, like SPJ said. But the thing is, over 3 of his last 4 games, he hasn't hit this line. But they've also been losing. They've lost 2 of those 3 games, a loss against Pittsburgh and then a loss against Philly last week. Thing is when Derrick Henry isn't seeing 20-plus carries, nobody is really having a good time. When this guy sees 20-plus carries, they're 5-0 this year. In 4 of those games, like I said, he's had 2-plus touchdowns. He is running all over teams when he's getting the opportunity. And now against a team like the Giants here, who have had so much trouble not only stopping the run, but now they are without their best defender in Dexter Lawrence, who has now been put on IR. They are without their front 7 has been decimated this year by injury, and it's been the best part of their defense. Now you're looking at a situation where Derrick Henry, 16.5-point favorite. This is a game that they should win. He's also averaging over 110 yards per game in their wins this year. And on the road at MetLife, he's only played here twice, once against the Giants, once against the Jets. Both times he's finished with 150-plus rushing yards and 2-plus touchdowns in each of those games. This is one of those narrative plays he's very much due against a really, really bad defense. I just think that you got to feed your workhorse here. And going into the postseason, you want him like playing at his highest level. And that's exactly when Derrick Henry starts playing at his best. It's late in the season. We saw it last year too. We've seen it every single year. He turns up over the last 4 to 5 weeks of the season, and I'm expecting more of the same here.
Just to throw a couple angles at you guys from a Derrick Henry, because 104.5 yards is high, which makes me think he's going to cook. But a couple things you could play instead. Maybe we want to talk about this in the parlay too. But his longest rush is over 19.5, which is the market I like to take with running backs and wide receivers, especially if you think the yards is a little bit higher. If Derrick Henry's going to get 104 yards, he's probably going to bust off a 20-yard run, if not more. So I really like that play. I also like his carries over 20.5. If you think that this game is one of those that they do feed him, he's going to get, as we said, usually when they do that, they win. This could be a game where they're leading. They need to keep moving the football, moving the clock. So I like the over 20.5 carries as well. But if you want to attack it a little bit differently and not take the whole yards, you can take a couple of those props too with Henry as well.
I had one more. The other running back prop I wanted to talk about this one was this guy right here, Justice Hill. Not his rushing yards, but his receiving yards. The Giants have struggled so much this season against pass-catching running backs, and that's exactly what Justice Hill does in this offense. He does nothing else. He's just a guy who comes in on 3rd down to catch balls out of the backfield. I think this is another good spot for him where even if this game does get out of hand, he might see a few extra snaps at the end. But even if he doesn't, he saw 6 targets last week, 7 targets 2 weeks ago. He's not a guy that's going to always get the biggest target share, but he is 4th on this team in target share. He is a guy that is seeing a significant snap share as well. I do like him to get over his 12.5 receiving yards. Oh, this line has jumped significantly overnight, but I still like it up to, I think, 16.5. I wouldn't take it higher than that. But I think it's also showing us that these guys are going to be moving the ball. The Giants have a hard time getting off the field, and I think the same thing is going to happen today. We see them right here in 3rd down conversions allowed 15th, and they haven't really played too many good teams. Like, this is a team that has also played the Cowboys this year, and their schedule hasn't been the best, but they've been even worse.
Yeah, I mean, his catches as well, like Kadar was saying, over 2.5 for plus money. He's had 4+ in 2 of his last 3 games. Yeah,
I love that prop.
Yeah, I do too. You guys want to put this in here? We could do just the 2. It's probably a little juiced, but
yeah, I like that.
I think it's like minus 160. It's not that bad.
Or we could just nut up and take the 3 for the plus money.
Let's take the 2.
It's very juiced.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
Let me just pull it up and just look at it, but it looks like it's very juiced from what I was looking at.
You guys think Zay Flowers is kind of low to score a touchdown today?
Yeah.
What's
He's
the
plus 140. He has 3 all year.
Sheesh.
It's a little low. He's lower than Lamar.
What is it?
Plus 140.
That's really low.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. That's a little sus. That's right up my ass, bro. I love taking shit like that.
Another guy that I thought was low too is Mark Andrews. He's usually a guy that's sitting around plus 210, plus 220. Right now he's sitting at plus 185 today. And I didn't push the button last week, and I had to watch him go score the first touchdown on it was like a 25-yard catch too.
Yeah,
I think I gotta take Flowers. That's too low.
I also did play Wan'Dale Robinson 30.5 receiving yards.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that.
Danny.
Neighbors is banged up.
Mm-hmm.
Trusting
Danny
DeVito.
DeVito's crazy.
I just like the way he plays. He very much reminds me of like a Drake London type. After he gets the ball, he's gonna get a yard or two because he's gonna eat hits, and he likes to do it.
For a second, I thought you were talking about DeVito. You like the way he plays.
No.
I was like, what?
No. No, even his parents don't like how he plays. All right, nobody likes how he plays.
Oh my God.
All right, so for this game, I think we either take Justice Hill for 3 catches for plus 112, or we could just fade the fuck out of the Giants and take like their team total under, or the Ravens by 1 million. We could do it that way too. What do you guys think? What do you guys want to do?
Why is Marlon Humphrey up for a touchdown?
I don't.
Wait, how does this work? You just pick a prop for each game?
We're just taking we talk about each game, and then we just take one thing we want to put in our parlay for the whole slate.
And it could be pretty juicy.
Like Ravens team total or something.
Could do that too. We could do something with Henry if we want. If we really like something with him.
Henry?
I think everybody did like the Justice Hill look, or we could take the Ravens team total. It's sitting at 28 and a half. 29 and a half. Holy fuck.
They'll get that in the first half.
Probably.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
I think I like the Hill 3 catches.
35-6 at halftime.
Got to be Henry Hill.
Somebody go bet that exact score though. But let's rock with Hill.
Okay, 3 catches.
Jeff, you said you love that one too, right?
I love Hill receptions. I love that.
Okay.
All right.
Doing 3 for plus 112. 2 is minus 250. That just doesn't hit, man. So, all right.
All right.
All right. 2 down.
Moving on. Down in Cleveland, we got Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs coming into Cleveland as a 4.5-point road favorite, over under set at 41.5. Now, this is a spread that to me feels short. Now, am I willing to trust Jabu? Probably not. I don't know if the Lord's delivered him from pick sixes yet. Where are we going in this one, boys?
I love Judy for 100.
Ooh, dog pound.
I love the Chiefs. I think this is the first spread they're going to cover all year, honestly. I think they might have covered once or twice, but I do think the Chiefs are going to roll here, man.
Okay.
I agree with Trez. This is the kind of game where we're finally going to see them play the way we wanted them to play all year, with Winston coming in with the Browns. I think it's like a jolt for the first few weeks, but now, like V said, he's praying to God to deliver him from pick sixes. I think the Browns are going to regress a little bit. We talk about this when a coach is fired or a new QB comes in. It kind of pushes everybody to be better, but I think the Chiefs will cover for once.
In the dog pound. I really like this Judy look that Chef mentioned. He's been awesome. He's been the Jabu's favorite target. So I think the 70.5 feels comfy. I mean, Jameis passing yards has been also something that's really really worth looking at every single week, purely because if you guys know, he's just going to go out there and just say fuck it and throw it for Jesus. So I like that too. I kind of lean also with the Chiefs to cover, but this team just doesn't cover and wins games. So do you guys see the stat? I don't know if you guys saw this floating around the timeline, that there's 5 teams in the NFL that have not scored 30 points this season. The Chiefs is one of them. The other 4 teams are all like 3-10 or 4 and the Chiefs are 12-1.
The kid's up.
Okay.
Love you, Chef. Love the kids.
Love you, buddy.
You want a 5-teamer underdog? I'm gonna give it to you anyway.
We sure do.
Titans,
Let's go.
Titans plus 210.
Okay.
Browns plus 188.
Okay.
Colts plus 184. Dolphins plus 128. 5, 6, 8, 1. Book it.
Okay.
Sounds tasty. If you had one leg of the entire slate to throw in our parlay at the end of the show, what's your favorite touchdown scorer?
Touchdown score?
Yep.
And prop. Give it 2, Chef. We need one for each.
I say Josh Downs receiving yards.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, we're already on Thielen. I know he doesn't talk about it. Love Thielen today.
Yep. He's been great.
Actually, I'm going to change Downs. So I'm going to do either. If you don't pick Thielen, I'll do Thielen. If you don't pick Judy, I'll do Judy. And touchdown. I put one out earlier. Hold on, let me see it.
Just from the plums, who's scoring? Favorite one?
From
the plums.
Adams.
All right.
All right.
140.
Sexy.
Plus 140.
All right. There we go.
Beauty.
All right. Love you, Chef.
Boys, thank you. Bye.
Happy Sunday. Appreciate you.
All right.
Laters. All right. And then there were 4. All right. Yeah, he said Adams, Devontae. We'll get back to it at the end of the show. Don't worry. Okay. Back to this Browns game. Triz, I know you said the Chiefs to cover, like the 4.5, right?
Yep, love the 4.5. Even with the hook, I don't even care. You know how much I hate hooks too. I think it's 7 to 10.
Boys, is there any narrative here for a Kareem Hunt touchdown against his former team?
Oh man,
it's really wide. I was looking at it, but it's kind of wide. It's like 340 or something.
Snaps is just so hard, man. Just Pacheco's back, and they're just really like they're not really using him as much anymore.
The backup running back has scored, I think, in 2 or 3 of the last 4 games, or 2 of the last 3 games against these guys. But again, this is just like, is Andy Reid feeling in a good mood and want to put him in at the goal line? This is not going to be the kind of thing where I'm expecting like a 40-yard run. So, yeah, I think I'm not going to take it.
I like the angle. Makes sense.
For sure. We see it happen. Like Judy just went off against his former team. You know, they might try to feed him today. But I do like Pacheco touchdown. He didn't score last week, and he got the ball a shit ton. And on Prize Picks today, he's listed for every prop but a touchdown, and he's the most favored player in the game to score a touchdown. Kind of weird. It's not like a Green Goblin or something. Just like Henry and all these other guys that get the ball a bunch of times a game. Like Chase, and Chase is like minus 140 scored touchdown today. They don't have a problem listing him, but minus 105 guy, a little odd. I think Pacheco might get in. Not to say that Hunt can't also get in, but I would like Pacheco to score a touchdown today.
This might be another weird one because I think he burned most of us last week, but Jameis Winston's passing yards.
Yeah.
Garbage time, baby.
You know, garbage time, the fact that they're going to be playing from behind, and the fact that Kevin Stefanski, even with Nick Chubb back, still refuses to run the ball. 65%. And this is a team that really doesn't have – they're playing with their backup QB technically and a receiving core that lost their best wide receiver. I don't know. It just feels like a spot where he bounces back. He's also playing at home. He's hit this in 4 of the last 6 games. And KC is also allowed 3 of the last 4 QBs to go for 260 or more. They let Aiden O'Connell go for 340 2 weeks ago.
I really like this from the chat.
Yep, I was probably about to pull up the same thing. Yep,
the attempts looks.
Yep,
Jameis' attempts.
I like that.
Really, really nice. It's
36.5.
Yep, because that covers the narrative as well as like even if he doesn't have a good game, he's still going to try to toss it around. So.
I love playing quarterback attempts. It's a great way to save your ass. If you're literally like, yo, this guy's going to throw 350, then go check what the attempts is.
I think this should be our prop for this, or its attempt for this game, or thing for this game. What do you guys think? I like it. What do you think, V?
Yeah,
you down?
I like it.
35.5. I mean, look at the graph. 40 plus in 5 of his last 6 games. He's going to be hucking it. And the Chiefs, as you mentioned, I mean, they've been letting guys throw it. I also like Travis Kelce, too, just to throw that out there. I think he bounces back after kind of a meh game last week. But he's been hard to bet on this year. So
This is my this is my New York Jets. Like how Tracy said, the New York Jets have cost some thousands this year. Travis Kelce is my New York Jets.
yeah, I feel that. Let's do Jameis attempts then. 35 and a half. Okay. Good shout,
right.
chat. Good stuff. I think Sook was about to talk about it, but
I was. I have it played as a straight 36 and a half. I only missed one time as a starter in this since this season.
Nice. You can get 35 and a half right now for minus 125.
That Bengals spread just moved up to 6.
I like the. We'll talk about that in a second.
Let's get to that next.
Okay.
Let's
We
go.
got right here. We got the Bengals in Tennessee as a 5.5 point favorite, over under sitting at 46.5. It's a few props that I'm eyeing in this one, but SPJ, why don't you tee us off?
Yeah, so we talked about it a little bit before with Joey B. This is the Bengals, they really, really need to win this game. Like, if they lose this game, their season's cooked. Titans are already eliminated from playoff contention, so they're just playing for pride and next season, like you were talking about with Rodgers. Will Levis is still trying to prove that he can be maybe the guy next year for the Titans. A lot of guys working to kind of be beneficial to having a good offseason, etc. Nothing to play for from their eliminated perspective. There's a lot of narrative in this game, though. Brian Callahan, of the head coach of the Titans, the first-year head coach, used to be the offensive coordinator for the Bengals for 4 seasons. He came directly he and Zach Taylor are very, very close. They're very good friends. And I have a feeling that they're going to want to go toe-to-toe today. The Titans were really bad offensively last week, so I think they bounce back a little bit here. This Bengals defense is awful. And I think that Will Levis has an opportunity as long as they can protect him long enough. There were multiple plays where they would have hit a huge play if the fucking right tackle wasn't terrible. Most of them were to Calvin Ridley. So I think Ridley can have a good game. I think Will Levis can have a good game. I also, on the other side, think that the Bengals are going to come out and have a good game. I think it's going to be a fun game. I know Trizzy leans with the Bengals. I don't want to touch a side because, it's my team. But... I don't know. There's all these narratives are always weird with coaches playing former organizations that they have a lot of good feelings towards. So you don't know if they're going to come out and want to just show them their dick and just say, "Hey, hold this," or if they're going to if it's going to be a little funky. So my favorite play though in this game is Calvin Ridley receiving yards. I got 61.5. I'm going straight back to him. He burned me last week, but that was purely because so many missed big play opportunities. This Bengals secondary sucks. And I think that the Titans are going to take advantage a couple of times, especially with Callahan knowing the tendencies of this team from being there for 4 seasons. Lou Anarumo and him know each other very well. Lou Anarumo is the defensive coordinator from the Bengals, who's been very bad. So I like Calvin Ridley a lot to have a bounce back game, but I could see the Bengals winning this game by a couple touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. I think the spread is on par too. Chef brought up that he thinks maybe the spread should be a little bit wider. I mean, that when the Titans played the Commanders were coming in 7-3. The spread was 6.5. Didn't move. So it's I don't think it's exactly that weird. This team's 5-8. If they're definitely not as good as the Commanders, and it's almost the same line. That game, the Commanders blew them out by 30 points. So. Could be a game similar to that. And we were talking about their defense before as well. And I mean, Jaden Daniels put up 40 on them. So it might just be a little situational, I don't know.
That game was not the defense. That game was, they had a special teams fumble on the fucking 10-yard line that gave them a short field. They gave them 3 short fields. So it was it was 28-0 before you blinked. So I that was a little bit different, but I see the point that you're making. There was no stopping that day. So I like Rusty. Just to be fair, Trent. I mean, I'm gonna bet the Titans. I'm not gonna tell you guys to do that though, because that is not a smart analytical decision. I think, but that's my heart speaking here. But I think this could be their Super Bowl. This game could be the last game of this season for the Titans that actually has meaning to them, purely because of playing for their coach. So. Maybe that factors in, but Sauce?
I agree with what you're saying, SPJ. It is a tough spot for the Titans to be in right here. But like last week, we saw it with Calvin Ridley. It was ugly. 12 targets, 7 receptions for 59 yards. And we know how many times they either just missed or something got called back on a holding penalty. And against the Bengals team that ranks 29th in points allowed, that has been terrible against the pass, I think Ridley is in store for another big game. They have no coverage on the outside, and Will Levis isn't really throwing to anybody else. I think I was thinking about getting a little cheeky with a Nick Westbrook-Akine touchdown today.
Mm-hmm.
We know all this guy does is score touchdowns. It's sitting there at plus 220, which feels a little bit short despite how many touchdowns he has. When you look at his target share and everything like that, it's a little bit tough, right? Like last week, 1 red zone target, didn't score. The week before that, 1 red zone target, but still had 2 touchdowns. It's a weird spot, but against a Bengals team that gives up big plays, that gives up a lot of points, it could be the perfect spot for Westbrook-Akine to once again get into the end zone.
He actually dropped what it would have been the game-winning touchdown in the back of the end zone to finish the game last week, and it would hit him like right in the hands in the back of the end zone. So he almost scored another one last week. So I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm. And then on the other side, T is from Tennessee. He is a Tennessee kid. He grew up here. This is why he was also connected to this team in the offseason when it looked like the Bengals may not pay him. And I think he'll continue to be connected to them if the Bengals do make any kind of boneheaded decisions about this in the offseason. He's been really good. His target share last week was not there. He didn't play really well. You saw him tweeting about it afterwards too. He's like, I know. But I don't think that was as much about slips as it was about the fact that he just had a really bad game. And everybody's really kind of come to expect more of him. We've seen what he's looked like this year. The target share and his line is right back up there again at 66.5. But if I was going to look at one touchdown score in this one, I think it's got to be Jamar Chase again. He's just been unstoppable on a completely different planet. And I don't like eating juice for touchdowns, but over the last 3 weeks, the Titans have been burned by wide receiver ones. Last week, they gave up 8 catches on 12 targets to Brian Robinson Jr. He couldn't get one in the end zone, but the 2 weeks prior to that, they gave up 2 to Terry and 1 to Nico Collins. This is a place where they have kind of struggled. They're missing, what's their run? It was Isaiah Rodgers? No, their cornerback. He's still out of the lineup, SPJ, from the Chiefs.
L'Jarius Sneed?
L'Jarius Sneed. Is he back in the lineup?
No, he's still out. They did get Awuzie back though, and he used to play for the Bengals. So that's interesting.
But I do think Jamar just gets in the end zone again. So outside of that, not too much I'm looking at in this one. I guess I say after 4 plays.
Yeah, I was about to
say. Buddy. I will go next because I have Andre Yosivas for over 20.5 receiving yards for all of the reasons that everybody said. They're going to be all over Burrow. They're going to be all over Jamar Chase. But Yosivas over 20.5 receiving yards. He's hit this with 1 reception, 2 out of the last 3 weeks. So I will just go ahead and take that. Seems like a low number. Everyone's talking about the superstars. If you're going to give me a guy that can do it in 1 catch, if the secondary gets too much all over the Jamar Chase, so give me Yosivas over 20.5 receiving yards.
I like offense in this game. I think the over could be nice. If you think, because both of these, if you think the Bengals are just going to trounce the Titans defense or the Titans should be able to score on this Bengals team. So we could see a bit of a shootout.
The under has a very heavy handle on it.
Okay.
So
Pollard also hasn't
over
scored.
Would be the sharp play.
I'm not a sharp guy, so that makes no sense. But fair enough. I like Pollard a lot too. His touchdown looks nice. His yards is a wagon. If you guys don't know, the Titans are going to give him the football a lot. And I really like Pollard's rushing yards. I went with Ridley instead just to take 1 play in this game, but I do like Pollard a lot. We talked about Pollard last week. We put him in the big guy touchdown. Didn't hit. The yards hit in the first half.
But the thing is here, he's got 4 touchdowns this year. That's it. He hasn't scored in almost this is week 3 now, going on without a touchdown. Bengals 30th in first downs allowed, 27th in pass yards allowed, 23rd in rushing yards allowed, and 22nd in yards per play. They're third last in red zone efficiency, and they rank 29th and 31st in touchdowns against. This might be the perfect spot for Tony Pollard to finally get the proverbial monkey off his back with this. And he had 100 yards last week in a game that they lost. Right? They need to start finishing drives, and if they're going to do that, it's going to be with Pollard. He should have scored in that first quarter last game, and he went 3 more quarters after that without getting even close. It was very frustrating, and if they are going to come out and play this way, like we saw, SB, you're saying, is it Brian Callahan, the coach for the Titans?
Yep.
Yeah, we saw him last year too, and how well he used a guy like Joe Mixon on this Bengals offense, right? Now he's got a guy in the backfield in Tony Pollard who's been putting up great numbers. You got to feed that guy. You got to get him into the end zone and start finishing these drives, especially if you want to win this game against the Bengals.
So it's just getting a counter in the chat. All right. We should let's pick something from this one. I know Triz likes the Bengals. Do you have Beans on the 5.5? You said, or the 5?
Yeah, I have a full unit on it. Nice. I got it at 5. It's now 6.
Yeah, I'm looking at 5.5, but definitely shop around depending on which side you like. I know our dog Rusty likes the Titans, so yeah, nice to hear.
Real quick question from the chat: you like Akine's yards or is TD more?
TD more. The value at plus 220 is what I like, and he's a guy that if he's catching balls, it's usually in the end zone.
All right now.
All right, off to Houston.
Wait. What are we taking?
Oh yes.
Ooh.
Lots of things we mentioned in this game.
I think Higgins has a massive game too.
I do too.
Higgins has been very pedestrian. He's trying to play for that contract. V was talking about wide receiver ones, and I mean, they have 2. So you can look at it for Chase, and you can look at it for Higgins too. Higgins is a wide receiver 1 on 27 of the 32 teams in the NFL. So
Higgins also might have family in attendance at this one too, like a significant portion.
It could be a really big day for Higgins.
Because it's not a matchup that they play often. Like, they don't play Tennessee all the time.
66.5.
They also these
70.5 on some books.
68.5 I'm staring at. These teams don't like each other either. I'm
looking at 70 on Fanatics, so
let's take T. I'm down.
Let's do it.
T.
He's gonna cook us. All right. T. Higgins, 60, whatever yards line you can get. I'm looking at 68.5, 69.5, whatever it is. Take it however you like. That's our play from this game. All right, let's keep it going. Good vibes. Drop a dub if you guys are enjoying the show. Yes, Chef was with us. He is no longer with us anymore. But trust me, if you're just tuning in for Chef, we're fun too. So don't stick around. We have a good time.
All right. Off to Houston. We got Tua Tagovailoa with the Miami Dolphins going down to Houston, Texas to take on CJ Stroud and company. The Texans are 2.5-point favorite here. Dolphins coming off a win. Winners of 4 of their last 5. Texans been kind of struggling. Lost 1-2 just the last 6 games. Over-under sitting at 45.5, and for some reason it feels like this game's going to see a lot of points. I wrote about this game. I'll post the article in the comments here, but what are we looking at in this one?
Man.
I'll go first. The only guy that stood out to me, and in more ways than one, it was Devon Achane. Devon Achane has been absolutely fantastic for this team. He's averaging over 6 yards per touch. He's getting involved in both the passing game and the running game. And he has more receiving touchdowns this year than he does rushing touchdowns. He's caught 6, ran in for 4 more. I am on the touchdown at plus 105. I'm also on his receptions. I do really like his receptions. He is highly targeted out of the backfield, and against a team in Houston that is second in sacks, that has done a great job in pressuring the QB. I feel like a lot of these checkdowns are going to be available for Devon Achane to kind of get out into space and move downfield. He's seeing 7. He had 6 catches last week. He's seeing 7+ targets almost all the time, 4+ in these other ones. And a lot of these catches are coming right at the line of scrimmage. So I'm not really too worried about the yardage or anything like that. It's more of a numbers game than it is a yak kind of play that I'm looking at this one. So I took both plays. I'm on his touchdown at plus 105. I'm also on the over 4.5 receptions at minus 110 here.
I like
so. I took Tank Dell here too. I took Tank Dell on the Texan side of the ball. He's been very, very pedestrian the past couple of weeks. He has 2 touchdowns on the season, I believe. I think he gets in today, man. I think today's the game he snaps back out of it. I think it's going to be a relatively high-scoring game. The Dolphins last week played pretty tight, and these two teams are really banged up. They're both kind of fighting here. I think it's going to be a very hard-fought game, probably a shootout, and I think Tank Dell has the chance to break a few loose, get hit down the field. So
I agree
with Tank Dell touchdown.
With it being a shootout. That's why I just kind of shut the book and just played over 71.5 passing attempts. Both of these quarterbacks can flirt with around 40 attempts a game. So if you're going to give me 71.5, I think that's a comfortable spot, especially if everyone's saying scoring is going to happen in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back and forth on taking a Dolphin receiver because over the last couple of weeks they have really been cooking on offense. We talked about Tyreek last week. I think it was V was pretty heavy on Tyreek last week, and he balled out. We're seeing his target share go back up in the direction of him being the guy, what we've seen in years past. I like his catches over 5.5. I like his yards too. This Texans, as you said, Triz, this Texans secondary is very banged up. And they, statistically on paper and like from a data perspective are good stopping the pass, but they're not good stopping the pass. So I like Tyreek. I also like Jonnu Smith. So I ended up not pressing a button on either because I like both of them and I don't want to take one and watch the other go off, and I don't want to bet on two guys on the same team. So, but I think that both of them have an opportunity to have a good game. Jonnu Smith last week almost shit the bed and didn't do anything, and then in overtime went crazy and scored the game-winning touchdown for the Dolphins. We've seen what Jonnu Smith has done over the past month and a half of the season as well, becoming one of the best receiving tight ends in the NFL. So I like him too. I like his yards. But I think between them, I think one of those guys, maybe both, but one of those guys I think is going to have an opportunity to have a good day, especially in on the road.
The Texans were off last week, right?
Yep, they were in a bye.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think Jalen Waddle? 12 targets last week.
That was against the Jets. Their defense, again, we talked about it earlier. If you like Waddle Hill had 14 targets. They both got heavily targeted last week. Mike McDaniel was in his back.
And again, that's why I'm just playing the attempts, because some of these guys look super, super juicy, and I don't know who to target, so I just hope the ball gets thrown around.
Just to pull out a couple more stats too, talking about wide receiver one. So in 7 of the last 10 games, the Texans have allowed the opposing wide receiver one to get in the end zone. And in 5 of the last 10 games, the wide receiver two has also gotten into the end zone. So they're giving up a lot of touchdowns, and it hasn't been pretty. You can see it right here too. If you look at their defensive ratings here, they're 12th in points allowed at 22.2, but 28th in red zone efficiency. And this means touchdowns. Like once teams get into the red zone, they are converting at a very heavy rate against this Texans defense. And usually you see teams really kind of lock in once you get into the red zone because it's a short field. There's so much less room, so much less you can do as an offense. But the Texans have really, really been struggling with this facet of the game. And against the Dolphins team that has so many weapons they can use in short yardage situations like A-Chain, Waddle, Jonnu Smith has kind of come alive this year. And then, of course, Tyreek Hill. There could be a lot of points to go around this one. And I think that the spread is also showing us that. Miami has not been that good this year, but they've finally won 4 of the last 5, like I said. Tua's also probably missed significant amount of games too, and it's not like their backup was even a backup. They had Tyler Huntley and I don't even know Skylar Thompson, right? Guys that wouldn't even make NFL rosters in other spots. I think this might be a place where the Dolphins come in. It's in a dome, right? They're not playing, no weather conditions, nothing like that, where they kind of put points on the board and do it in a big way. So whoever you like in this one, I feel like it's a good spot.
So I kind of like Tua's passing attempts. Like Sook was saying, both QBs together. But if we look at over 35.5, hitting 4 straight games, 40-plus attempts in 3 straight, I mean, it feels comfy.
I feel like passing attempts is one of the most underutilized markets out there, because I think as soon as you think a guy's going to go ham, sprinkle the attempts.
The other thing is the Dolphins have gone over this total for their last 5. The over-under.
And the other thing, too, is the Dolphins like to pass the ball. They're on the team like the Browns. And it's not even the lack of running back here. It's the fact that they like to have A-Chain out in space. So in order to do that, they like to pass him the ball quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes those
Should
are
we
just nice, easy, just like completions.
What is the completions for Tua? Just the number. That could be interesting too, instead of taking the attempts. Because I think it's 25.5.
The completions.
Yeah,
He's hit that for the last 5 too.
24.5.
24.5. Yeah.
He's also been very accurate, 70+% in last 2 games.
His last 4, it's 28, 29, 37, and 33. You guys don't think 24.5 is a little sus? Why would they drop it that much?
Yeah. Why don't we take the attempts?
Yeah. All right. Let's take the attempts. 36.5. All right. All good?
Mm-hmm.
All good.
All right. Let's keep it rolling.
That line makes more sense. 36.5 attempts.
Yeah.
I think also because the Texans ranked first in opposing QB completion percentage, but 19th in pass attempts allowed.
And like SVJ was saying, those stats are a little skewed because half of the good defensive stats for the Texans, half those guys that contributed to that aren't playing. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
100%.
All right. Let's go to New Orleans. We got the Saints as a 7.5 point home dog. Over under sitting at 44.5. I don't know if it's Derek Carr in the lineup today, boys, or is he still out?
No, he ruled out. Jake, the sus quarterback is you seen that dude's pictures, bro? Like it's sus, man. It looks like it looks like he's the guy that runs around the locker room smacking dudes' asses, and everyone looks at him like that guy's a little weird.
This is the Northeast right here, born and bred. Trizzy Betts. All right. But let's talk about this game. We got a lot of like I feel like good props in this one with these two offenses. I don't know about the QB play, but no Derek Carr, right? We have no Taysom Hill. Is this the week Alvin Kamara finally crosses the plane?
No, I said this last week. We kind of laughed about it. Kendre Miller, we said he might get in the end zone. And I literally said, yo, boys, he's very, very good. And you saw that touchdown. He powered it through. His rushing yards is 32.5, boys. And he's playing the 28th ranked rushing defense. This Saints team doesn't have a lot to play for, but they have a rookie 3rd-round running back that's only played 3 games. Last week, he got 10 touches. I really, really think Kendre Miller gets his 32.5 rushing yards. I'll ladder it up to 50. I think they're going to see what they have with this kid, and they're playing a Commanders team that is good through the air, playing defense, but on the run game, they're a little soft. So I definitely think you kind of beat up that D-line with Kamara, but then you see what you have with Kendre Miller. So I got the 32.5 played straight, and I sprinkled that 50. I think this kid is very, very good at a TCU.
Mm-hmm. So I'm on the under in this game. I took it at 44. I believe it moved up to 44.5, but it's a very low line. The Commanders have soared over this total in their past 5 straight games. I get the Saints don't have their quarterback and blah blah blah, but I could genuinely see this Commanders team rolling in, winning like 38-3 or like 34-3 type thing. And I also like Alvin Kamara receptions in this game. Rookie quarterback making one of his first starts. That's gonna be the safety blanket for him on the underneath when he doesn't know where to go with the ball. He's just gonna dump it off to Kamara. So I think it's 5.5 the receptions. I love that, and I love the under. I know everybody doesn't like playing unders, but
makes sense.
I would agree. Yeah, even the Kendre Miller look too. Like this is an ugly team with the Saints. They're not doing a whole lot. Alvin Kamara has been catching balls out of the backfield, and Kendre Miller was the one that scored their only rushing touchdown last week. So it's been weird down in New Orleans.
I love the receptions play, Triz. Over 4.5 for plus 120. He's hit that.
Love it.
Eight of his last 10 games. My only concern is that what if the Saints just are fucking atrocious today and they just can't even do fucking anything?
I would kind of like it better at that point, honestly.
Yeah,
I would kind of like it better at that point. If that kid doesn't know where to go to the ball, that he's going to be going to the short route on the outside, especially when you have Kamara there. So
sure,
I think that Commanders defense is going to stifle. I think his name's Hainer. I think they're going to confuse and stifle Hainer, and he's going to have nowhere to go with the football but the check down to the running back.
Yep.
Do you like Brian Robinson touchdown?
Hovey, shout out Hovey. I don't know if Hovey's still in chat. Hovey had a very sus play today. The third string running back for the Commanders, Chris Rodriguez Jr., I think.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
He's weirdly low for a touchdown. I think he's like plus 500. Dude doesn't get the ball that much, but supposedly with Eckler out and McNichols, I think that's his name. I'm pretty sure he's banged up. That might be a good look. That's Hovey's play, but it might be. He's on Prize Picks for a touchdown too, which I think is really weird. He's third string running back. There's plenty of players on that team to score a touchdown. Why is he up there?
I hope he comes in with shit like this. I definitely listen. He came in with Jimmy Graham touchdown and first touchdown scorer last year, I think it was, and that was
Holmes had a 94-yard game.
That's what that was garbage time game though. I remember that game. It was garbage time. And I believe Robinson was hurt, and I don't think Eckler was touching the ball much. They were just kind of running with everybody they had. But you can use it to look. He is good. He is a serviceable NFL running back. He could get in there.
I mean, that's what I'm hoping for Kendry, that he gets the ball in the fourth quarter 3-4 times just to fucking run out the clock.
It's also worth mentioning, too, that Jaden Daniels went to LSU, so returning back to playing the city that he, won a Heisman in. So balling out and, in front of the Bayou. I don't think he's from there, but he played meaningful football for LSU for a couple seasons and won a Heisman, so that matters. I'm sure he's going to have maybe some family in the house popping by. I'm on this attempts train now. His attempts is 29.5. He's hit that in 5 of his last 6 games, passing the football. And the Saints are the 4th worst team to passing attempts allowed to the opposition. So, I mean, they're going to have to throw it to win. I don't think they're just going to run all over the Saints team. So I do like that, but maybe it gets a little bit weird later if they're really clapping them. And
game script might fuck us there, if they're really up big and they just start rushing the ball. But
I mean, they were clapping the Titans, and he still had 30 attempts.
That's a good point. And that day he was throwing it all around the yard. So that Saints defense isn't good.
No.
Boys, we got 35 minutes, and we got to pick a play in the Dolphins game too. We forgot to pick one.
We did 2 pass attempts. We got one.
Oh, yeah,
it's on the
2
bottom
pass
of this.
attempts.
It's scrolling at the bottom.
Who are we taking with the new Saints then?
Let's do Kamara receptions. That's not
Kamara receptions. Let's do Kamara
Yep.
receptions.
Are we all in agreement on that?
Yeah, 6.
No, 5.
Yeah, plus money or something. If you even want to juice it up a little, buy it down to 4.
4 is minus 220. That's so gross.
Yeah, no, thank you. 5.
Yeah, 5. Yeah. It just doesn't hit the same. All right, Kamara, 5 catches. Let's keep it going.
All right. For the first time in a long time, the Carolina Panthers are actually favored in an NFL game. They come into this one at home as a 2.5-point favorite against the Dallas Cowboys. Over-under sitting at 42.5. We saw Micah Parsons walk off the field in disdain last week. What's going on with the Cowboys this weekend? Are the Panthers actually going to cover this spread? Triz?
It's a big public spot for the Cowboys today. The public is showing the Cowboys a lot of love today. I think the line's a little sus to begin with. The Cowboys didn't really get dicked last week. It wasn't that much of a ass kicking here. And I mean, this is still the Panthers. I know they've been hanging around with these great teams and blah, but this is still the same Panthers team. There's not much that has changed. They've kind of been playing above expectations. This might be one of those games where they come kind of crashing back to earth. It's probably going to be a gross game, ugly game. But I do lean with the Cowboys, but with how public they are, I don't think I want to take them.
I have my favorite play of the entire slate in this game, which is gross to say, but Sook's going to like it. He's in my exciting whites parlay today. Adam Thielen.
Let's go.
Oh, Adam Thielen. I got over 50.5 receiving yards. I like the catches, too. He's been Bryce Young's favorite target over the past 2 weeks with double-digit targets in 2 straight games. This Cowboys secondary sucks. They're injured. They just I think Deron Bland just got put on IR. He's having surgery. They ain't got nobody back there that's worth talking about in that cornerback room right now. And Adam Thielen and Bryce Young have been cooking. He's coming off a 100-yard game. back-to-back weeks. Like I said, double-digit targets, 8 and 9 catches in 2 straight games. I love this play. I like his catches too at 4.5. If you want to take the 5+ for a little bit of juice, but I think he's going to have plenty of opportunities to. He's going to get targeted a lot. Bryce Young is finally looking like he's fitting into this offensive system that Dave Canales has brought in from the Buccaneers to Carolina. He looks settled. He looks a lot more in control. And Adam Thielen is that veteran presence that kind of is going to help that process at home today. I think that Thielen's going to come out and perform yet again. So I like the 50.5. I did ladder it to 100, but I really think that Thielen's going to have another good day at the office.
Diggs is out for the season too.
Yeah, Diggs is out too. So.
And I think if we look at Thielen's numbers, it's exciting. But beyond that, on third downs and in the red zone, he's made some incredible highlight reel catches. And I know it sounds stupid to say, but that's the kind of thing where a young quarterback like Bryce Young is going to be like, all right, I'm just going to throw it up to this guy. He's 34 years old. He's a savvy vet, and I'm going to see him make a play.
Yep.
I do like this too. Everybody's been all over him. 2 for 8 on targets and receptions last week. Boy drops it, but he's super athletic.
I kind of like his tutter today, honestly. I think maybe some redemption, like some redemption, dropping the game-winning tutter last week.
I agree.
I don't think this Cowboys team is like, that wasn't a bad loss last week. They played the Bengals. The Bengals offense have been on fire, and they only lost by a touchdown. They kept that game relatively close the whole time. That's not a bad loss, in my opinion. Quarterback threw 2 picks.
And they had the weird punt play at the end of the game that cost them the game, which was very funky.
Maybe the special teams played bad, but the team itself had a good game.
Yeah, Leggett for over 38.5 receiving yards looks very tasty. I think that both of those guys can have good games through the air if Bryce Young's getting them the football against this.
I like this one a lot. I mean, Leggett, if you look at last week, he had 8 targets, but 6 of those targets were actually catchable balls. The 2 that were, 6 of those were not catchable, right? He had no drops last week. He caught both of the ones that were catchable balls, and it's just been a story of like Bryce Young. He has really good games, but last week against Philly, they have really stepped up defensively. Darius Slay had a really, really fucking good game last week, and that's exactly why Xavier Leggett had, the trouble he did. Even that one drop at the end of the game, that wasn't a catchable ball. It was a little bit outstretched for where Leggett, but he almost. I love the narrative. I think his touchdown is sitting kind of short too. It was sitting below plus 250 plus 290 now. But I love the spot here. I think he hasn't scored in 4 weeks. He hasn't gotten many red zone targets, but it's against a Cowboys team that gives up a lot of points. They rank 30th in touchdowns allowed. I feel like Xavier Leggett is a good spot, and then everybody's favorite, Chuba. Chuba. This guy, I don't like. I like his touchdown. I like his rushing yards today. I think that if these guys are truly favorites and they are going to win this game, Chuba's going to have a big game. He does it when they're losing. He does it when they're winning. And honestly, like, I've just become such a big fan of this guy. He does it on the ground. He does it through the air as well. I just don't see why we wouldn't bet Chuba again today. So, do you have anything to say about that?
I think the only worry here is that now Chuba is very well known as the feature back, got the extension, and now you got Jonathan Brooks that went down with a no-contact ACL injury on the same knee once again. They don't have a lot of options in that backfield. That's why from chat, I really do like that 18.5 rushing attempts. They might use this guy as a battering ram today, but Chuba is very, very good. And I think, we're seeing it the highest we've seen it all season, 86.5 rushing yards for this guy. And the whole season, it's been 52, 56.
Well, this Cowboys can't stop a fucking nosebleed on it. We could all go out and play running back for a team and probably get a couple yards against this Cowboys rushing defense. So I like Hubbard a lot, but it is very high.
And there are 3 wins this year. Like the Panthers, 3 wins. Chuba's got 100. He's averaging 113 yards per game in those ones. He's also got 5.
Boys, they haven't been a favorite in a game since 22.
Yeah, they've covered the spread just twice in the last 2 seasons.
It makes me want to bet the Panthers money line, man. So bad. What do you guys want to take in this game? We got to keep it rolling.
Should you say Chuba to get one in the end zone?
Minus 150.
I don't want to do a touchdown play again, dude. It was
what about his receptions? You just kind of sold the shit out. You sold me on that with all the targets.
You talking about Hubbard?
Oh, what about Leggett? We
No.
all like Leggett.
Yeah. Leggett. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Leggett. My fault. I said Hubbard. Leggett.
I could get very down with Leggett, especially his receiving yards at 40.
Yeah,
either receiving yards. You were saying he had 8 targets last week, right? And 6 weren't catchable balls. What is his receptions at? 4?
Holy fuck, 3.5 for plus 130. That might be spicy.
I would take that. I like that. Redemption, like all day redemption. That's their guy. They drafted him for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear him on the podcast too? He's like, I dropped that one. He's like, he's like, you can see it. His teammate gets up, all pumped up, all happy because he thinks he caught it, but he's got this look on his face that says, "Nah, man, I dropped it. Fuck."
Yeah, man. Yeah, honestly, like confidence too. They're gonna try to keep his confidence. They'll probably feed him today.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get him the ball after that drop. It's kind of it'll fuck with his head. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I dropped the game winner. Now they're not throwing it to me.
Yep.
I like Thielen a lot too, but I've already got beans on him, so we can put Leggett in here instead.
Do we just do Bryce Young completions? Probably solo.
You can do that too, or attempts, even attempts.
Just make this an attempt lay.
Yeah, I was gonna say we gotta make a decision quick. We got the whole afternoon to go through. Boys.
Yeah, we gotta keep rolling. Let's do Leggett. We talked about Leggett the most.
Yeah.
We can take either the 4 catches or the 36.5 receiving yards. God, 36.5 is so low.
Chat, make sure you check out the other tight end for the Cowboys, though. Only 7.5 yards, hit 4 straight weeks.
4+ for Leggett's plus 116.
I like that. I love that, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it.
Should we take it? All right.
Yeah.
There you go, chat.
Off to Los Angeles. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers rolling into LA to take on the Chargers. Chargers coming into this one as a 3-point favorite off of a loss, and the Bucs have now won 3 straight games. Over-under sitting at 45.5. They're playing in a dome. Could be some points in this one. Slick, why don't you lead us off?
I'll keep it short and sweet. Bucks money line plus 125. The Bucks need to make the playoffs. If they win this game, their chances of making the playoffs get right around that 90% mark. The Chargers also need to do the same. They're battling with that Broncos team to try to make the playoffs, but I really do think the Buccaneers here come in and get a win. So I just played the money line plus 125. I think Baker bakes, and I just think that they had a very, very tough schedule before their bye week, and now coming out after that bye week, I think guys are getting more healthy. They're getting more guys in their secondary. I just think that this Bucs team, despite all the injuries on the defensive end and all of their failures on the defensive end, this is a top 5 offense in the NFL. So I think they come in here and get the win. So I'm not even playing around with the points. I'm just taking the money line.
Sexy.
Yep. I love it. I think Mike Evans could also get a touchdown too. He's played fantastic, and like you said, when they need a win, when they need this is they go to their guys, and that's Mike.
Mm-hmm. So with Evans too, like he's 410 yards away from another 1,000-yard season. It seems like it kind of seems like that's out of reach. But me and Hovey were doing the math this morning. That's like 335-yard games. That's not that bad. You know what I mean? Like. That's not completely out of reach. Or one game with a crazy stat. Yeah, exactly. And then
Triz,
a couple others.
Baker has talked about it. Mike doesn't care, but Liam Cohen and the offensive coordinator and Baker, they fucking care. They want to get him there.
Exactly. I think it could happen, man.
I like something on the Charger side, purely fading the Buccaneers secondary because they're ass cheeks. And this guy didn't play last week, so he's probably a little bit healthier than he has been, and he's been absolutely cooking. Ladd McConkey over 73.5 receiving yards. He's the number 1 target on this team. He's back. This Bucs secondary sucks. I think that he's in store for another big day as long as Herbert can get the ball to him. And Herbert's been really good. And again, this Bucs secondary can't really stop anybody. So I lean with you on the Bucs. I'm with you on that. I just think that McConkey being back is going to help this offense a lot, and I think that he's going to get targeted enough to get over the 73.5 receiving yards line.
I will say as well that line is higher than it has been. His receiving yards has been 60 or 60.5 for like multiple straight weeks, and now he's coming back from injury. Now it's higher.
Mm-hmm. Well, he cooked before that. He had 100 plus in 2 of those 3 games with 83 sprinkled in there too. So, I like that play, and the matchup's good. So
yeah, and we there was a lot of talk last week about is he going to play, is he not going to play, and then we saw what happened. He didn't end up playing, but honestly, he probably needed the rest, and now he's come in well rested against a defense that he should eat against, and so I love the Lad McConkey play. Another spot here, the Bucs have just always struggled against tight ends all year this year. 25th in receptions allowed, last in receiving yards allowed. This is a guy, Stone Smart, who came into the game last week, caught 3 balls for 30-some yards. And he's not a guy that you're going to be looking at like that jumps off the page at you, but he is a guy that is just going to fill a position. And with Will Dissly out of the lineup now for the next few weeks, it's next man up. And the next man up in this Chargers offense at the tight end spot is Stone Smart here. You're looking at his line too. They set it up here at 29.5, kind of high for a guy who played really his first significant NFL game last week, saw just 3 receptions, caught all 3 of his targets. So I think that over 29.5, good spot, because we know that the Chargers don't have receivers. And even with McConkey back, like, he could probably catch 20 balls, but like I don't think he's going to catch 20 balls.
I like this a bunch, dude. I had Will Dissly yards because of the matchup last week, and he got hurt, which was really painful. And then to watch Stone Smart go bananas in the second half was equally as painful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they also talked about how impressive he's been since training camp. I love players like this that get their opportunity and then they take advantage of it and then they don't know where to set the line. So it's like we could see him, maybe have another 40 to 50 yard game, and you're not going to see this 29.5 receiving yards line again.
Exactly. All right. So what do we want to take in this one? Do we like Lad? Do we want to take a Buck spread?
Last thing in this game before we pick our play, I do also think Joshua Palmer has a chance to have a good game. 2 out of the last 3 weeks, he's had a very heavy target share. The Canadian kid is coming into his own. I do think he's a very good route runner, and like SPJ said, the Bucs are very banged up on their secondary, and I think there's always a chance for a guy that's a second or third option to kind of feast when a defense is banged up, because they're going to overreact to guys like Lad. So I do like Joshua Palmer. I have not pressed the button, but I do know his 4 receptions is plus money, and he had 6 last week.
Word. I kind of like, for the big guy, should we just take Evans?
Yards?
I don't hate that. I do like.
Yes, let's do it.
2,000?
Yeah.
It's 70.5. I mean,
I like 70.5.
Yeah.
70.5 is. I think he's gonna hit 100 today.
Okay, let's go.
All right. This is an interesting matchup. SPJ was talking about this as we discussed playoff implications. Both teams in desperate need of a win if they hope to make the postseason today. You got the Denver Broncos at 8-5, sitting here as a 4.5 point favorite over the Indianapolis Colts. Over/under set at 43.5. Both teams coming off a win. Where are we going on this one? Because this might get ugly up in Denver.
Man, I wanted to take something with Bo Nix in this spot because of how good they've been and how bad this Colts secondary is. I also really like Cortland Sutton. TD over 70.5 or his touchdown. I mean, we talked about this on the channel quite a few times over the last 6 weeks. Like, he is Bo Nix's favorite target. Like, there is no doubt about it on this offense. Like, he is. If Bo Nix starts running around, it's just fuck it, Cortland's down there somewhere. So I like his 70.5. I know Betsky put it in his staff piece article. I think Bo Nix can also have a really good game through the air. I was looking at his passing yards. But this is a funky game, man. Both of these teams really need to win to stay in the AFC wildcard hunt. So things could get a little testy, a little tight in this game. So I don't know. I didn't end up betting anything.
He's also been really good at home too, for what you can see here, hitting 4 of the 6 games. Could be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I oddly like the Colts in this game. I know I shouldn't.
Really?
It's
sense.
gross. It's disgusting. It's probably not going to hit if I'm being honest. But that line's too short. It's fishy. Drop the half point too. Anthony Richardson sucks. This defense is this Denver defense has been legit all year. I don't know why this is only fucking 4 points. I really don't. Probably should be 7. I got to do it. I gotta do it. I also tapped fucking Adonai Mitchell again for the ninth fucking
Trizzy.
week.
No.
Dude, I had to do it, bro. He's plus 900 on 2 books and plus 300 on another 3. I had to do it. And if he scores and I'm not on him, I'm gonna be pissed. Even at this point, if I don't make money on the bet, I just need to be on it when he scores.
I know those ones, man. I know those ones.
Cole
With the line discrepancy too,
Yeah.
I gotta take it, And like I said, that Bronco spread's incredibly fishy.
Chef said he liked Downs. I think Downs is back this week. Thank you, Iconics. Do you guys want to mention anything else in this game before we pick something?
Cortland Sutton. He's been real good over the last few games. They're playing at home again today. It's been, I think, 2 weeks since they played at home. 9 targets last week. He's had like 9, 8, 11 in the last 3 home games, and he's just been good, even not just at home. I feel like if Bo Nix is going to have a big game through the air, it usually means Cortland Sutton is also. Like, he might not always get into the end zone like you'd like, but he is a guy that is good for a significant target share. He's got great hands, and he's got great yak ability. I feel like his receiving yards at over 72.5 today in a must-win game. You got to feed your guys in these big games. And we know that the Colts pass defense has been very lackluster this year. And I don't see why it wouldn't be a good spot for him. 27th in receiving yards allowed to the opposition. It's his number 1 target.
I just took the Broncos to cover. Kept it simple.
Beauty. All right.
Let's take Sutton.
Yeah,
Betsky likes it. I talked about it. You just talked about it. Let's take Sutton. Are you down for that, Triz?
I'm so down, yeah.
Trizzy, are you down?
Yeah. Right. I trust you guys.
Oh, wow.
That
swallow V was aggressive in my ears, dude. Holy shit. You just swallowed the fuck out of that drink. Holy Lord.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Boys, we got to get on our horse.
Go.
Go.
Let's go.
We've got the Buffalo Bills going into Detroit at Ford Field. Detroit 2.5-point favorite, over under sitting at 54.5. This might be the game of the week. It is noon. What are we doing? Where are we going? Sook, tell me why you think it's the Lions.
I will go first because I just took the Lions -2. I'm not betting any props. I'm going to sit down, watch this game. The Honolulu boys in blue are the best team in football. They are better than the Chiefs. This team is fucking awesome. Give me the fucking Lions to cover. And I'm saying that as someone who loves the Bills. Josh Allen has been absolutely electric. But I just think at home, give me the Lions 12-1. They've only lost to Baker. And I don't think Baker's on the Bills, baby.
I'm going to kill you, man.
Hey, you let me go first.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, no, honestly, I agree. The Lions are fantastic. The only reason that I'm looking at this play right here, James Cook touchdown, is because of how beat up their defense is. 13 players off their defense are on the IR, and even more are out this week. They don't like it's really weird. Who's playing for this defense right now? They've lost linemen, they've lost backup linemen, and it's just been atrocious. James Cook hasn't gotten into the end zone last week. We saw Josh Allen rush for 3 touchdowns last week. We saw him rush and catch one the week prior to that. This has just been one of those places where James Cook is so due, in my opinion, and Josh Allen is such a popular touchdown bet today. Now, I think they could both get into the end zone. This is going to be a high-scoring game, and Josh Allen had 3 one-yard rushing touchdowns last week, or at least 2. I just think that this is a place where you put James Cook in that position and you don't needlessly risk your QB's health multiple times in this one.
I like that.
Especially against the Detroit defense that we know if they can get a good shot in, like they're going to take it.
Yep.
I only like Jameson Williams receiving yards in this game. High total. Somebody's going off. I think a lot of props could hit in this game. It's definitely worth mentioning quite a few things, but we don't have time to go through every single prop in this game that we all like. So Jameson Williams receiving yards. Didn't press the button. Probably going to bet it before the late slate starts. I think he has an opportunity to have another big game against this Buffalo secondary.
Agreed. I don't really have too much I like in this game. I think the spread's a little weird, like you were talking about. The Lions are really banged up on defense. I know the Bills just lost to the Rams. Tough loss. They put up almost 40 points. I think they win most games. They put up 40 points. So I think the line should be flipped. I get it. They're 2 really good teams, but I don't really want to get involved. I think I'm just going to watch. That's probably a great prop game, like you guys talked about. Total is crazy high, so maybe put a little SGP together, some yards, stuff like that. But I'm staying away from the spread or money line.
Lions had 5 receivers last week with 5+ receptions. Like, I don't know when the last time I've seen that happen. And if you're looking to target one of the receivers, my only advice would be target a receiver with a lower line rather than targeting somebody like a Monra, whose line is quite inflated every single week.
Mm-hmm.
It's always Tim Patrick. All right, what are we taking?
I don't know.
Shakir yards?
I can get down with Shakir yards. He's had a huge target share. They're going to have to pass.
Coleman's back, but
I still think he's the wide receiver 1 there, even with Amari Cooper.
Yeah, I was all over Coleman for so long, and I just think he's a little bit of a dummy. He's a kid. He's got to grow and learn. I love Shakir. He's fucking amazing. Josh Allen throws the ball at him, and he finds a way to catch it. I think he's like one of the best guys in the whole league. He has like the lowest drop percentage out of anybody.
50. We can take his 58.5, or we could take his 5 catches for -188 for Shakir.
Is it 50.5? Because he's a big play guy too at times.
Yep.
58.5?
58.5, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Off to Arizona. We got Trizzy's New England Patriots down in the desert. Arizona, 6.5-point favorite at home. Over-under set at 45.5. Arizona have lost 3 straight. The Pats have lost 3 straight. Who's losing today? Somebody's got to win.
I don't know. I just love points. Points. I think this is a very high-scoring game between the two. Our defense, I said it last week, our defense, we're getting a little bit more healthy, but we still gave up 25 points to fucking Anthony Richardson. And our pass defense is supposed to be one of the brightest spots of our defense. Not saying we're good, but it's supposed to be the bright spot of our defense. We got Christian Gonzalez and stuff back there. We got Peppers back, but I just think this is going to be a very, very high-scoring game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots end up covering this game. It seems like anytime the Patriots this season play a very serviceable offense, the game goes over this total. Other than the fact that like some of the divisional matchups, like I think the Dolphins was like a 15-10 game, but that's a divisional matchup in New England on top of it. So any other time they've played a pretty good offense. This game, the total has gone over. So I like the total here. I like Kayshon Boutte to score a touchdown. He's plus 350. He's scored 1 touchdown all year. He does get the target share. He had 6 targets last game, I believe. And this Cardinals defense is kind of Swiss cheese in themselves. So I think Drake May is going to be running for his life. As always, he does it every game. We have no offensive line, but I think he can make some things happen, creating plays. So I like points. Pats are definitely not going to win. I think they're in full tank mode at this point, but they might hang around a little bit. And Kayshon Boutte to get in the end zone.
Mm-hmm. I just took over 64.5 passing attempts in the game.
That's great. That's a great look.
What's Drake May's passing attempts?
I'm sure it's like 33.
That might be a solid angle.
I saw a stat that over the course of like the past 5 weeks or something, Drake May and Lamar Jackson have like the same amount of rushing yards.
Ooh,
wow.
It's like 325 a piece or something.
I like the over. I didn't really lab this game too much, just because I don't really have a good read on either one of these teams, and we're almost gonna run out of time if we spend a lot more time on it. But you guys want to just roll with the over here?
I love the over. That's like that is my favorite play of the day, honestly.
I'm down. I like points in this one too.
The under is getting slammed as far as bet percentage and handle, and the line is just like not moving, staying at 46 for the most part. So,
all right, over 46.5.
Exactly.
All right, boys. Last game that we can cook up a little TD lay and a little prop lay. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers going into Philadelphia. Steelers have been good. They've been great in the division. They lead the AFC North, and the Eagles, same story in the NFC East. 5.5-point spread, over-under set at 42.5. Feels kind of low, but both these offenses are very high-powered. What are we looking at?
I have one play in this. Oh, let's go.
That's just my play. Trizzy doesn't like it. SPJ, what you got?
I think AJ Brown's going to go bananas today. He's cooked the Steelers when they've played. He has played them twice, once as a member of the Titans and once as a member of the Eagles. Has had 125 plus receiving yards in both games, coming off a couple bad games in a row. It's been documented in the press on his relationship with Jalen Hurts and not getting the ball enough, et cetera, et cetera. I just feel like that he's just going to get peppered with targets. He's going to go bananas, maybe a yak play, maybe a big play, something like that. So I love the straight line of, I got 79.5, but I laddered him all the way to 125. I think it's going to be a big AJ day.
Mm-hmm. I do not like Steelers whatsoever today. It's been a very long time since I saw an underdog spread with almost 80% of the tickets. That is never a good sign, in my opinion. Steelers have been playing fantastic, but they've been playing like, some hearsay teams. This is a real test for them. We'll see how they stand up to it. And I think this game's going to be a slugfest. That's probably what the total is, where it's at. So very, very tight game, but I lean with the Eagles here. I don't know about that spread, but like I said, 80% of tickets on an underdog spread. It's been a long time since I've seen something like that.
Go.
Sauce Man, you got anything?
Man, not really in this one. I've heard the narrative about AJ Brown and how he goes off after like comments like that, or when he's feeling super frustrated. Last time I think he had like 150 yards and 2 touchdowns after a similar type of game where he commented on the passing. Now it's a Steelers team. We know how Mike Tomlin prepares for these kinds of guys. It's tough, right? He had to prepare for Devontae Adams twice this season, I think 2 out of 3 games. And now you're looking at a guy like AJ Brown, who's just as good, right? Both top 3 wide receivers in the league, probably. He could go crazy again. It's just a tough spot. I don't like this game a whole lot. I like it from more of a watching perspective than anything else.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I wouldn't be surprised if there's no touchdown scored in the first half of that game.
Yeah, these teams keep points off the boards, both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Should we just rock with AJ receiving yards for this one?
If you guys
receptions, yeah, like especially with all the narrative behind it, it might just feed him.
I kind of like the receiving yards just because he's one of those guys that can get one catch and take it to the house.
Yep.
So 81
and Pittsburgh is 18th in passing yards. Yes, that defense is staunch, but they give it up a little bit in the air.
I like it.
Now even Chef is texting us that we're running out of time. He's texting us.
Bro, our streams are about to be 3 hours long.
Yeah, honestly.
No. All right, I've got 12 legs in here. And we've done all the games. We won't talk about V's gonna write about Sunday Night Football for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
He'll have that up on Betting News later today between the Packers and the Seahawks. Should be a good one. I'm gonna read this off. These are all the plays we talked about for the entire show. Every single play, it's plus 306,000, boys. Garrett Wilson, 6 catches. Justice Hill, 3 catches. Jameis Winston over 35.5 attempts. T. Higgins over 68.5 receiving yards. Tua Tagovailoa over 36.5 pass attempts. Alvin Kamara, 5 catches. Xavier Legette, 4 catches. Mike Evans, 70 plus or over 70.5 receiving yards. Cortland Sutton over 71.5 receiving yards. Khalil Shakir over 58.5 receiving yards. The over in the Patriots Cardinals game, and then AJ Brown over 81.5 receiving yards. Put a cup of coffee on it. That will get posted nowhere except for you guys, and we'll post it in the Discord.
All right.
Okay, TD Lay.
Let's do it.
We got Devontae from Chef.
Higgins.
Higgins.
I like that.
SPJ?
AJ.
AJ?
I like that too.
He has like Legette or Thielen or Mike.
Mike.
There we go. There we go.
Let me get the odds here. Hang on. All right. So you said I'm doing AJ. Where's AJ? There he is. Okay. AJ, Mike. Where's Mr.
Higgins.
There's Higgins. And what was yours, P?
Give me Tyreek.
Oh, I like that too. Oh, and then Devontae from Chef.
Yep.
All receivers.
Yeah.
Could go wrong. Tyreek. And then Devontae. Show me your TDs, chat.
Literally.
5 legs plus 8,000, 11. A.J. Brown, Mike Evans, T. Higgins, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams. Those are your 5 touchdown scorers. If you'd like to write it out with us, they're all plus money, so take them all individually if you're feeling frisky. But that's our touchdown line.
Let's go.
Good stuff, boys.
Let's make some money.
Let's make some fucking money today. You guys know the deal. Enjoy these games out there, guys. We finished on time. We just, by the hair of our chinny chin chin, boys. By the hair of our chinny chin chin. We appreciate you guys. I'll read off the 2 lays one more time before we get out of here. We will post, actually, I'm just going to post them both in the Discord. So if you want to get involved in our free Discord, send us a DM. We'll send you the link. Touchdown lay. T. Higgins. Tyreek Hill. Devontae Adams. A.J. Brown. Mike Evans. Those are 5 right there for you. Plus 80, 11. Then 12 legs. One more time. Garrett Wilson, 6 catches. Justice Hill, 3 catches. T. Higgins, over 68.5 receiving yards. Tua, 36.5 pass attempts. Alvin Kamara, 5 receptions. Jameis Winston, 35.5 pass attempts. Xavier Legette, 4 catches. Mike Evans, 70.5 receiving yards. Cortland Sutton, over 71.5 receiving yards. Khalil Shakir, over 58.5 receiving yards. The over 46.5 in the Patriots-Cardinals game, and then A.J. Brown to take us home, over 81.5 receiving yards, if you want to get frisky with it. All right.
Can you put a cup of coffee on that for me? Because I ain't building that out.
How about this? I put a cup of coffee on it, and it pays almost $20,000. So if it hits, we'll just I'll send you some money. How about that?
Yeah.
That sounds good. Chat, we appreciate you guys.
Off, we never hear from him again.
Yep.
I mean, if he put $5 for each of us, he would be gone.
You'll never hear from me again. All right, good stuff, chat. We appreciate you guys. Dubs, thanks for hanging out for the last 2 hours, talk about the NFL. We do this every single day, so if this is your first time kicking it, come back and hang out with us again tomorrow for Best Press. So go follow Trizzy, go follow Vsauce, go follow Sook, go follow myself, go follow all of us at Your Betting News. Enjoy these games today, guys. Bet responsibly, as always. Boys, you got anything else you want to say?
Let's have a Sunday.
Let's have a Sunday.
Baker Mayfield plays football today.
It's a beautiful day to be alive. Indeed. You guys came for the winners and you stayed for the vibes. Have a fantastic Sunday. Enjoy the games, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Take it easy, everybody. Peace.
What you know about rolling down in the deep? Down in the Now I know y'all be loving this shit right here. About rolling. What you gonna do? Rolling. What you gonna do? Down in the rolling. What you gonna do? Right, y'all be loving this shit. What you know about